What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Saturdays and Seltzers. My name is Kendra Middleton, and I was having a down day, and then I saw my beautiful co-host, Sarah Griffin, and I feel like I have found new life today. SKG, what is we doing?
First of all, I'm touched.
Oh.
Right now, I just opened the Tropical Punch Fruit Smash, so now we're drinking.
I know. I just opened the pink lemonade one because I literally have had such a crazy day. I brought the rest of the case in here. So we ball. That is what I am drinking today. Thanks so much to Fruit Smash for sending us a bunch of stuff over the weekend. You weren't home, so did you ever get your stuff? They said they would resend it. Also, I'm gonna sneeze.
Bless you. And no, I don't think I did. I don't believe I got any package.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know this. I think I just got mascara everywhere. I didn't know this, but I guess I think I'm going to sneeze again. I guess Drizzly only delivers if someone's home. Ah!
Bless.
Sorry. Anyways, thank you. But did you know that?
I didn't know that either. No, maybe it's because like you need an ID. Like, do they check IDs when they deliver?
I don't know. They've never checked mine. Maybe I just look old, but I assume that that's the reason.
Yeah. It has to be something to do with that. But yeah, I did not know that. I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I guess that they don't deliver. But I would actually dream partner brand deal sponsorship situation. I would love to work with Drizzly.
Yes, that is a dream partnership right there.
Yeah, if I've ever heard of one. I think just because Sarah and I are rolling so deep with the Fruit Smash, I don't think my seltzers have changed. I didn't try any new ones this weekend. I'm still rolling. What about you?
Yeah, no, same seltzer list. Honestly, I've been kind of on a big cider kick, so I've not tried any new seltzers lately since Fruit Smash.
It is fall. Also, are your allergies driving you crazy? Because mine are. I'm sure you could hear it. Mine are so bad.
I don't think so. I know I've heard a few people say their allergies have been really bad this fall. I'm just glad that I'm finally over my like stupid little asthmatic cough. So
yeah,
I've been chilling.
You had that forever, like literally the entire time I've known you.
I always say I think I got it in March. Like that's how long it's been.
That's so crazy. So you went to the Sox game the other night with your sister, so we can kick the show off talking about the Sox. How was it? Did you miss me?
Of course I missed you. Oh my god, but it was amazing. that was
was a good game.
Oh my god. Like the electricity of the wild card game. I was like, I will never be at Fenway when it's like this again. It was fucking nuts. You would have thought they won the World Series, and I was celebrating like it was. I don't even care. Just the fact that like we all were saying like it wasn't just like you and me that were like, oh, if they win the wild card, that's going to be their big win of the season. Like no one thought they were going to win the ALDS. No one.
Especially after game one.
We all thought they were going to get swept, especially after that game one, because that was not nice. But yeah, I was shocked. The best way possible, like pleasant surprise how that whole series panned out. I feel like everything was going in the Red Sox favor. You know, I have a bunch of stuff listed here just about all the different like highlights of this series, but yeah, that was fucking insane.
I mean, I tweeted when that ball in that game went into the dugout, and I was like, God loves the city of Boston and their sports teams. And I like truly believe that, because the fact that the Red Sox have made it this far in itself is a fucking miracle. But they looked really good that like second stretch of that series, I feel like. And Kike Hernandez is kind of God.
It's like, I feel like it was a completely different team in that first game. I don't know if that was just a reality check for them or what.
No, totally.
But even from like that one game, like Erod went like 2 innings the first game. So he had like one of his best starts of the season in game 4. I don't know if it was just because he knew what was on the line, like the pressure of the situation, you know, the intensity of Fenway. But no, everything just like all of a sudden, like right after that Chris Sale let up that grand slam in game 2, I feel like everything just shifted. And yeah, Kike, like I know they don't give out MVPs for the ALDS or DS series, I should say. But if there was one, he got that by far. I would say Nick Pivetta is a second place for that. But no, Kike was the huge difference maker, I think, in all those games.
Yeah, and I mean, Evaldi is playing so well.
He's, I think, safe to say, which I've been on this train for a while, Evaldi is the ace of this rotation. Like, I love Chris Sale to death, and I think he's going to have a nice rebound start because he knows, like, he said, like, oh yeah, like, I've been shitty. I've contributed nothing to this team so far in the playoffs. So I think he's due for a big start, especially against the Astros. But I think it's safe to say, like, Evaldi's made himself the ace of this rotation. And it's kind of funny, like, thinking back to 2018 when the Red Sox were up against the Astros again, the ALCS. I remember Alex Bregman posted a video like trolling Evaldi of all these Astros players getting hits off of him throughout the years. And then I think every single one of them pretty much struck out that series against Evaldi, except Bregman himself, I think maybe got a walk once. But other than that, just like seeing how far Evaldi's come to the point that he's like your guy that you want him starting these games. Like he is going to make the difference as a starter. I don't know. It's just very nice to see.
Well, I'm wondering if Cora kind of started to see that because Chris Sale was like, Coach, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go. And he was like, no, we're sticking with Evaldi. So I'm wondering if like Alex Cora has like started to realize that as well.
Yeah, because it was a wild card game. He was like, I'm like, I can start whatever. And that was right after he had another bad outing. Oh, it was against the Nationals. That's what it was. And he's like, no, like, we're going to stick with Evaldi. And then the other night, I know during game 4, I read that if they had the lead going into the 9th, they wanted Chris Sale to close out that game. But since it was tied, they just kept Whitlock in, which I'm like, I kind of don't hate that. I think Chris Sale needs to like be put either starting and like have a nice start, or he needs a lead at this point because I don't think he's all there right now, which is fine. You know, he just came back from Tommy John. Like I wouldn't be either. But I think we need to stick with Evaldi as the number 1 guy going forward. And I think Cora knows that.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that you can do in sports that I think a lot of people fuck up far too often is not riding the hot hand. Which, speaking of, have you noticed that like Bobby Dahlbeck is like not playing?
I like am very I'm not confused because Kyle Schwarber has been like so good at the plate, and I feel like Dahlbeck started to cool down towards the end of the regular season. You know, he had that huge hot streak, which is great. And I don't mind letting Schwarber get in those reps at first base, but I do feel a little bad for Bobby just because like he came in the other night just to, I think he never even got on at bat. No, they had Travis Shaw pitch hit for him. Like he just came in to play first base for like an inning and he got pitch hit for it. I was like, that kind of sucks when you like had such a strong second half of the season and now, which yeah, it makes sense to play Schwarber, but I do feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, honestly, I was going to say, I know him and Schwarber have been working together. Like, he's been coaching, basically, Schwarber at first base. And I'm sure it's, like, the mentality of, oh, team first, win first, doesn't matter. But I'm like, that would suck a little bit.
Yeah. It's also, like, I don't think I've ever seen a team who had, like, for, you know, maybe 3 weeks, like, doesn't really matter how long, but the hottest hitter in baseball for a few weeks who is riding the bench in the postseason. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, not that I disagree with it, but.
Yeah. It's also kind of just testament to, like, okay, we finally have, like, a roster that goes deeper than it has been all season. Like, if you have Bobby Dahlbeck come off the bench, like, I'd say you're in a pretty good spot, which is good for them coming into this Astros series because that lineup is terrifying. Like they're 1 through 7 hitters. I feel like with the Rays, it was like, okay, we need to get through Randy Rosarina. We need to get through Wander Franco. And then you could kind of settle in a little bit. That Astros lineup does not give up.
No. Speaking of the Astros, how are you feeling?
I don't know, because I have kind of the same feeling I did going into the Rays series where I'm like, there is no way that they can beat them. But I also don't want to be like, well, I thought about the Rays, so I'm going to think that about Houston. Like, Houston's scary. They scare me more than any other team left contending. I'm like, if we end up making it to the World Series, they will not, whatever team's there, sorry to the Giants, will not scare me as much as Houston. And the thing is, the Astros don't even have that great of starting pitching right now. You know, it's not like they have any hot hands at the moment, but their offense is just terrifying. And I think it was like, I checked the other day, Boston starters this regular season had a 6.63 ERA in the regular season facing Astros hitters. I can't remember if they even won more than one game against them this regular season. And I remember saying to myself, if we make it to the postseason, I hope we never have to see the Astros, which was unlikely because they're such a good team. But I don't know. I don't know how to feel it yet.
So Houston scares you more than LA?
Yes.
Really? Okay. See, I think that this Giants-Dodgers matchup, speaking of, we can talk about it for a sec just because game 5 is tonight. I think that this is like some of the best. It's been low scoring predominantly, but I think that this is some of the best baseball we've seen in the postseason. Like it's been low scoring, but it's been fucking fun. And I don't say that watching, the Giants go into a game 5, especially playing the Dodgers, you know what I mean? But it's been really fun baseball. Even though it's really fucked up my sleep schedule, it's been a fun series. But it is like, this game is going to be the death of me tonight. Like the other night, though, I will say the Giants have fantastic pitching right now. Like their pitching is unreal.
They do.
The other night, it was going into the ninth, it was 1-0 Giants, and Camille Doval just closed it out. I'm actually obsessed with him. Like he's playing so well right now, and I think that like their pitching is what's going to set them apart if they make it to the next round, because I think that they do have the pitching to carry them through October. And like I said last week, I think that experience of going to a World Series before has just been so huge for us. But like if we get booted by the Dodgers, I probably am not going out this weekend. I'm just going to cry in my bed until Sunday morning when I have to get up and watch the Jags play in London at like 9:30.
How are you feeling? Like how do you think this game 5 is going to go?
I don't know. Like obviously it's at home, which helps, but it's still a rivalry game. Like I've mentioned before, like those kinds of matchups, like literally anything can happen. I do love like at home Giants games. I feel like their fans are great, but I was looking at tickets for the game today and they're selling for like under $200. So I'm like, you know what I mean? It's
really?
like, it's a game 5, like loser goes home situation in the Bay.
Yeah.
Like against your rival. I'm just like, why are tickets $166? I don't know. It is, I don't know. It's strange to me. I think I feel the same way that you do about Houston. It's like, this is the last team I wanted to play in this spot. And it's like anything can happen. And I don't feel great, but it's like, we've made it far enough to the point where I shouldn't feel shitty about it just because we're the best team in baseball. And it's like, we earned our way here, but it's still just like, as much as they prove it to me, this team was never supposed to go anywhere. So I still just subconsciously feel that way.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, you don't know. Like, again, like, the expectations for both these teams were, like, so low going to the season that no one expected them to get to this point. So, like, it's tough to be like, oh, yeah, like, I think it's going to be an easy win for them because, like, realistically, no one ever thought they would even be in this spot. But both teams have made it this far. So, clearly, like, they're playing good baseball, or they're just playing good baseball at the right time, which I feel like is more the Red Sox case. The Giants have consistently been playing good baseball, Like, they had control of that division for pretty much the whole season besides, like, 2 days? So, I don't know. Yeah, it's, like, tough to predict because it is kind of similar to the Red Sox with Houston. Like, that's the last team you want to be playing. But at the same time, they've proven themselves more than enough this whole season.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at there. I do want to hop back in our show notes for a second because I have a question. I saw that you put in our show notes that the Rays ordered champagne to Fenway after game 1. Was that a Verdugo quote or is that a fact?
Verdugo, I don't know who we told it to, but he said it to the media that I guess the Rays did order champagne after they won the first game to Fenway so they could celebrate.
Wow. That is ballsy.
I was like, because first of all, that was the same game that the Rays were sitting, which I know they're like, yeah, we're going to win this game. Like, it was pretty obvious they're going to win that first game. When they're all sitting in the dugout, I was seeing my mom. It looked like an AAU baseball game. They're sitting there eating popcorn. Like, a Rosemary is like chilling up against the dugout. And I was like, that's cocky. Like, I know they, like, at the time, everyone thought their Rays are the better team. Like, in that series, they weren't the better team. But at the time, he's like, yeah, we're the better team. I'm just going to sit here. That is bold, game 1. You do not know what's going to happen.
That honestly is probably what sealed their fate. Like, geez, that's crazy. I didn't know if it was a quote or that was a fact because I didn't hear that, but that's actually insane. Anyways.
Well, it's kind of similar. Oh, I was going to say, it's similar to in 2018, the Yankees I think it was after game 2 at Fenway in the ALDS, Aaron Judge walked out of Fenway because they won that game, playing New York on his stereo, just like walking throughout Fenway. And after that, like, it was just game over. I'm like, People just need to stop giving other teams bulletin board material. I don't understand how no one's realized that yet. Like, stop doing shit like that.
Yeah, well, it's like it's professional sports. Like, look at fucking when the Patriots came back against the Falcons. Like, anything is possible. It's literally not over until the fat lady sings. Like, this is not college, and even in college, like shit happens all the time. It was like I said a couple weeks ago when Jamal Agnew returned that kick return against, was it the Cardinals? It was super far because they like attempted a field goal, and it's like you might be playing a dog shit team in. First of all, they're not, but like it's professional sports. Like shit can literally happen at any time. Like these are grown ass men who are paid to do this shit. Anyways, we can move on to the Brewers Braves series. For me, this series, like my mom's a Brewers fan and my dad's a Braves fan, and I'm obviously neither. But it's kind of funny because like as much as I didn't have a dog in the fight, I just was not disappointed out of this outcome either way. So like, I think I was subconsciously rooting for the Brewers just because of Christian Yelich and like his Jacksonville ties and those types of things. But like, I'm not disappointed, but I know that you are like a Brewers fan. So what did you feel this week?
That fucking sucked. Like that was terrible. I think it was like I don't want to say I thought they were going to lose the series. I thought they were going to win this series. Like I really had no question in my head that they're going to win the series. But if you look at the Brewers' offensive numbers all throughout the regular season, like that's been their one big thing. Like they have amazing pitching, they have unreal starting rotation, unreal bullpen. Offensively, they just have never quite been there. You have a few hot bats like Willie Adames especially, but he like the last month has just been pretty cool. And it was just like bad timing, I think, for everything. And, they scored 6 runs over 4 games. Like, that's not going to win you a series. It does not matter how good your starting pitching is. Josh Hader's home run to Freddie Freeman was the first time he let up a home run off a lefty in over a year. Because I'm like, of course it was. But I'm like, yeah, you scored 4 runs that whole game. That's not going to hold you over. And then it doesn't help. Christian Yelich has just had such a rough season this year. And I do feel very bad for him. I don't know if you saw in his post-game interview, he was very obviously had just been crying. It was so sad. And I feel so bad for him. I'm like, he's so sweet. And I'm like, okay, he gets so much criticism from the media, whatever. I'm like, no one is harder on you than yourself. So I can't even imagine what he's going through right now. But if you look at it, I think this has definitely been a down year for him. Last year's a down year for him. He's coming back from his kneecap injury in the COVID season. I think he's going to bounce back next year because if you look at his swing, I don't think it's anything to do, like, it's nothing mechanically wrong. I feel like it's a mental thing. So I'm hoping he's going to talk to, like, a sports psychologist or something because I think he could benefit from it a lot. Same with Cody Bellinger, actually, which not really related to the series, but, like, the two of them were up against each other for the MVP in 2019. Then they both had such a flatline season. I feel like it's just very much a mental thing at that point.
I think everyone in like professional athletics should be seeing like some sort of sports psychologist. Like I can't even imagine.
Oh my God, I know. I'm like, I can barely handle criticism from idiots on Twitter, let alone being a professional athlete. And every time you go on social media, you have people that like are sitting on their couch, like stuffing their fucking faces, tweet at you like, oh, you piece of shit. Like you're so useless, and Yelich just signed that contract deal. I think was that last year or this year? Either way. But like he got paid and it seems like ever since then he's kind of had a downturn. Which I'm like, it's not like he did this like, oh, I got my bag. I don't care anymore. Like the guy was crying after losing. Of course he cares.
Well, it's like, it's not even that too. It's like being someone who's in the media. I don't think when you sign up for this job, oftentimes you like go into a post-game presser for your first few times and you realize that like, sometimes you have to ask the hard questions, and as hard as it is to be the person asking the hard questions, because that's your job and you have to. I can even imagine what it's like. First of all, after a tough loss, let alone like a playoff loss, what it's like to be like have to answer those questions when oftentimes like it's nothing that has to do with you. Like, yeah, he had a bad season, but sometimes it's not even to do with you. It's to do with other people on your team or your team in general. And it's like that alone like losing in a professional sport and being competitive and stuff, I think is something that you have to like take care of your mental with. But on top of all of those other things, like the fans and the media and all of those sorts of things, like, yeah, there's good people in the media and there's bad people in the media. And, you know, without media, people don't really get their information and stuff like that. So it's a necessity, but dealing with them when like it's just a requirement for your job and it's not something you actually really do, that's so tough, especially when you're a key player or a role player on your team. Like I feel for these guys.
Yeah, no, because like obviously every professional athlete knows what they're getting into. Like they know they're going to have to answer the tough questions with the media. They know they're going to have to deal with the backlash. But it's not like there's ever training like, oh, like if this is getting to you, like here's what you do. Like they have media training, to like answer questions and give like bare minimum responses. But I think you're right. Like I think all these guys should be seeing sports psychologists or like just a therapist, even if it's just an off season. Like I feel like there's so much pressure on you. Like we all have jobs. Like we all know what it's like when you have so much pressure on you to perform and how badly it sucks if you can't perform up to standards, let alone if you're a professional athlete and you have this entire fan base to answer to on top of the media and then the standards you hold yourself to. That's tough.
Yeah. So speaking of holding yourself to a standard in the media, I think someone tweeted us this week that we should talk about what is going on with Jon Gruden, and obviously that was something that was already in my mind for our show notes. If you are listening to this and you don't know what's going on with Jon Gruden, he kind of hit the trifecta of offending quite literally everyone. He had some things to say very negatively about the POC community, the LGBTQ plus community, women referees. I saw a meme yesterday that was like, Jon Gruden really offended everyone but Jewish people. And I was like, holy shit, he like really, really hit everything but religion.
He really did.
Yeah. So I think that this is just like gatekeeping people out of sports. First of all, it's like, are sports only for white men? Like, hello, have you read any of these emails or like what have you seen? Because I know I have like a huge thing of show notes.
Yeah, I read a bunch of articles yesterday just to kind of catch myself up for it. I kind of got the impression the only reason he's even being like the NFL like had him resign was because he talked so much shit about Robert Kraft. Because I'm like, otherwise they just be like, oh, just put out an apology. That's kind of the impression I got, that like, oh, you can like say all this shit because God knows there's plenty of people in the NFL who have said a lot of offensive stuff. But once you talk about Robert Kraft, that's where they draw the line.
Do you mean Roger Goodell?
Yes, I mean Roger Goodell.
Yeah, Bob Kraft. Yeah. But like, the worst part about this is like, I feel like he's only sorry that he got caught. He's not actually sorry because it started with like an email leaking about his comment about Demar Smith, who's like the director of like the Players Association, who's an African-American guy. And he like made a comment about him having big lips. And then it like, he addressed it with saying like, he doesn't have an inch of racism in his body or some comment along those lines. First of all, which is a lie, because you could be the most like SJW person of all time and you still see color. Everyone fucking sees color. So that was like my first red flag when that came out, is like, everyone is a bit racist. Like that's so stupid to say, whether you like mean to or not. Like it's still present. It's still a thing. And you should first of all address that. And it's like later it came out that he had all of these fucking emails, and that's like kind of what forced his resignation, I think. But like what really pisses me off is that like he has an openly gay player on his team who literally had to take a personal day today.
Did he really? I did not know that.
Yeah, his name's Carl Nassib, and he's like, I think the second gay NFL player ever after, I think his last name is Sam. He was drafted by like I think they were still the St. Louis Rams at the time, but he's like the first actively open gay player in the NFL, and he literally took a personal day today. And
yeah, I didn't know he took a personal day today.
And like he should. Like we talked about this week. I'm gonna do this just because I feel the need to say something because it needs to be addressed. And I was so personally offended by this. One, because I love Jon Gruden. I always have. I loved his commentary, all of those types of things. He's always been one of those people that I've stood behind. And second of all, as a woman in sports, him talking about like women referees and stuff like that is just uncalled for. Like, why does your gender have anything to do with how capable you are of doing your job? And third of all, I think that I have sort of hinted at this in certain places at certain times or something like that before. But as someone who is a bisexual woman, if you didn't know that, you're not close to me. Now you do. I'm saying here, I'm saying it now. And I was very offended by this. And I'm really trying not to cry. It's like the reason that people like me aren't comfortable coming out about this or like talking about it and things like that is because of people like this. Like you say that you are this or you are that or you are not. And it's like, I feel like people like Jon Gruden are the first guys to say, like, I don't care if you're gay, just don't shove it in my face. Like, okay, well, you have a player on your team who is literally an NFL player and not doing that. And you still have a history of talking shit. And it's like, this is why people like me, and don't get me wrong, it's way harder to be a gay guy in society. It's way harder to be a bisexual guy in society than it is for people to think that you just like to make out with girls when you're drunk or whatever, which it's not like that at all. But it's like, this is why people hide and can't be themselves, is because of assholes like you. And the people who are saying it's like, well, this was so long ago, this ended in 2018. And even if it was, you showed your hand. You should, I don't care if it was fucking 1942. See you later. This isn't the change that we want. And you know what? People are like, well, if you go back and look at everyone's emails from blah, 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 they would have the same things. Okay, see ya. We need the culture change. We need people like Carl Nassib to be able to feel comfortable playing football in his locker room with his coach and feel supported. And you know what? When he didn't show up to practice today, his team stood behind him, as they should. And it's like, I'm tired of hiding. I'm sure he was tired of hiding and just didn't want to get caught in public with a guy or something like that, which is the only reason that I'm saying this right now, is that I was with a girl at a club on Saturday night, and had anyone from the media see that and posted a picture, I don't want to fucking hide anymore. It's not fair to people. Like, why are we in the year 2021 still fucking gatekeeping people from sports? It's ridiculous and I hate it. Like, it's actually awful.
No, I agree. And I think you mentioned it, like, he would be one of those people that are like, oh, like, yeah, you can be gay, but just don't shove it in my face. Like, one, no one's shoving it in your face, but two, it's only a big deal because of people like that who make it into a big deal. Like, if you're putting out all these hateful comments and stuff, then it becomes difficult, like you said, to come out and say things like these, that it is kind of like you have to be brave, and like it's not shoving in your face, it's just having to be like, this is who I am, when you shouldn't even have to like declare it. Like, why is that even declaration? But especially in sports, where it's already such a toxic environment, that it is like such a big deal. Like, I remember when that NFL player came out, you know, there was articles about it everywhere. Like, that's weird. It's weird that there's articles everywhere, and that's how people know who this guy is. That's how he's remembered in the NFL.
Yeah. And it's like, I feel bad for him. It's like, nobody wants to have to do that. Nobody wants to be in the spotlight. Like, why can't I like who I like and it not be a big deal? It's like, I literally have only like, that's the reason I didn't do like some big coming out, whatever, is because I didn't want like anyone to be like, oh my God, congratulations or whatever. Like, people who know me know. But it's like, I'm sure for the same as him, like once you're in the NFL or like once you're in the media or whatever, and I'm still trying not to cry because this is fucking terrifying, is it's like, I don't want to be seen somewhere or people assume things or take a picture of me or whatever. It's like, I'd rather be like, here it is. Like, I'm laying it on the table. But like you said, like, we shouldn't have to do that. Like, why? Who cares? Like,
No.
like, even if my parents didn't approve, which like my mom does, like my mom supports me through and through. She was one of the first people I told. And it's like, the way that my dad found out was like one of the most embarrassing things like ever. It was so rude. Like, and that's why I don't care if my parents support me or whatever. But it's like, it's already hard enough for people to like accept that within themselves. Like, don't make it any harder. And it's like, I'm glad he was really celebrated on the internet, which he was, but it's like, why does it have to be like this big coming out party or this big, you know, whatever? It's like, yeah, I'm a switch hitter. Get over it.
No, I agree. I think it's because of people like this that it does have to be such a big deal for some people. And I'm like, you are the reason that it's so difficult for it to just be like this normal thing. Because
Yeah.
it is a normal thing. Like, who the fuck cares who likes who? Like, who cares?
Yeah, but it's also like when you, and it's not just that that has nothing to even do with this. I mean, it does. It's a huge deal, but it's also like, I would be willing to bet half at least, or more than half of your team is a person of color. You interact with female referees on a regular basis. It's like, how are you the leader of a locker room and so you care about your players and care about their families and stuff like that? And then this comes out, like, you were a coach before this, you were a commentator, and then you were a coach again. So how have you been so able to hide this? And that also brings up another point that I wanted to talk about, which is the fact that this came from the Washington football team, like a former employee of theirs. And I think that this was potentially to take the spotlight off of these, cultural problems that they were having. So I'm curious if this is going to start a sort of trickle down effect in the NFL or sports coaching in general, because it's like, obviously Jon Gruden's not the only one. Like this, I mean, come on. This is going to trickle down everywhere.
No, yeah, I didn't even think of that, but you're definitely right, because there's no way, like, it's the freaking NFL, like, the most toxic masculinity, like, is in sports in general, but football especially. We've seen it time and time again throughout the years, not just, like, toxic masculinity, but just, like, racism, sexism, everything in the book, you name it. Yeah, like, yeah, he hit pretty much every mark in his emails, but like you said, he's definitely not the only one, and I feel like having this happen is going to kind of spark something. I don't think this is the end of the conversation. I hope it's not the end of the conversation, because I feel like it's going to turn into one of those things that, like, oh, the NFL, like, here's this problem in the NFL, and then it just goes away. But I don't think this problem's going away anytime soon.
Yeah, like, first of all, people who are like, this is cancel culture, blah, blah, blah. No, these people should not be coaching anyone who is gay, straight, bi, a person of color. I don't care. I would love to see Urban Meyer's emails. That would be fantastic. But I think that Ryan Clark really nailed it on the head when he said today, how privileged are you? Like, seriously, how privileged are you to be a successful white straight guy? Like, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So, that was my coming out party. Thank you, Jon Gruden, for inspiring that. Anyways, did you watch any NFL last week? Because I'm going to do a super quick run through of NFL and college football. If you didn't watch anything, I'll make it super, super quick.
I did watch the Patriots game.
Woohoo! Okay, so we can talk about okay, did you know that Gronk was injured? Because I did not.
Gronk was it? I knew he didn't play in the New England game. I didn't know he's like injured.
Oh yeah, I know that he's not like, obviously he's not a Patriots player anymore, but I saw this and I was like, it was the first thing I could think about, because I know that we're both Gronk fans. Did you know that he was hurt though? Like,
yeah.
Hurt, like not playing.
I would say I didn't know he was hurt like that he's been like out.
Yeah. Yeah, he's out. But anyways, back to the Patriots game. That was crazy.
I would say that was a shit show, to be honest.
That was embarrassing. Like, bad. Like, I mean, the Jaguars and the Jaguars and the Texans go back and forth all the time. Like, we're used to losing to good teams and bad teams, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But they were up, I think, like, was it 19 to like 3 maybe or something like that at one point? And
something like that.
Oh my God, it was so bad. I was literally standing, like, I was watching Red Zone and it like flipped to like their second touchdown, and I was like, there's no way that this is actually happening. Like, Bill Belichick is not going to get got by Davis Mills, who is their backup quarterback now, and like half of their team is like on the hump of retiring. Like, Bill is not going to get got by them.
I swear to God, the entire first half of that game is just like, oh, the Texans just set this record and this record. I was like, you better be fucking kidding me, because everyone's saying like, oh, this is the game for the Patriots. Like, prove yourselves. Like, this should be an easy win, which, yeah, they won. It was great. I'm so happy. But I'm like, that was a fucking bloodbath to win that game, which I was like, for the Provy game, that was not what you want to see. I'm glad they pulled it out in the end. They kept the fight in them, but oof.
Yeah, yikes. It's like, how do you almost beat the defending Super Bowl champions and Tom Brady the week before you almost get your ass beat by the Texans?
What's the other thing? I'm like, how is this the same defense that like made the Bucks look pretty average last week? Which I'm like, I know the Patriots defense is not good. Like, they had a good week the week before, but that's but I'm like, what the fuck? They're making the Texans look so good right now. I'm like, the Patriots defense is a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah, I tweeted, I was like, Patriots fan, like at halftime I was like, Patriots fans, how are we feeling, like blah blah blah, and a lot of people were like, not good, not good, and a lot of people were like, well, like later they circled back to it and they're like, well, we won today, did you? And I was like, I am used to losing, you don't even need to chirp me, but you had to circle back around after to check and see if y'all did not just lose to the Texans, so I know you did not just come for me, sir.
Also, all you did, because I saw that tweet, was ask how are they feeling.
Yeah, was I like, oh
I
my
don't.
god,
You
you guys
weren't
are
like, oh,
garbage?
yeah, you were like definitive, like, oh, the Patriots lost this game already at the second. Like,
Yeah. So
people are
like the
just
fact that
mad.
so many people are pressed, it's ridiculous. But I had a good time with it. I was like, what's it like to lose to the Texans? Because I already know. Um, a couple things I want to get into about the game last week. The Jags lost their 20th game in a row, literally
Woohoo.
20. A team, this is a fun stat, a team has not lost this many straight since the late 70s, Sarah. The 70s.
History's made.
And it was the Buccaneers, and they lost 29 straight, and we are on our way there. We also added some like really, really sad injuries to our list. Brandon Linder now on IR with a knee injury. Miles Jack and Marvin Jones Jr. both did not practice today. I think that they said that Miles Jack is dealing with a back injury, and I don't remember what's going on with Marvin Jones Jr., but neither of them were at practice today. They play in London against the Dolphins this week, and Tua Tagovailoa is set to potentially return, which is a little, I mean, I feel like both teams are terrible, but like I still feel like we're gonna find some way to fuck this up. But a lot of people still feel really optimistic because like London is like a home game for us every year, and we have like a ton of fans there or whatever. But I'm just like, I I want Urban to keep losing so he gets the fuck out of here, or I want to find his emails, one or the other. Derrick Henry always has been and like always probably will be our daddy, and like that's just how it is, honestly. But I did want to talk earlier about like I wanted to talk about all of the injuries that were added this week because there are so many notable people. I mentioned Gronk earlier. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was ruled out of Sunday's game in the third quarter with a knee injury. Tyreek Hill was hurt. Travis Kelce got hit like really late and seemed like he could like possibly be injured. Joe Burrow has that fucking throat contusion. Like what?
Yeah.
Does that even like, is that a, like what? Did you see the hit?
I know, like, yeah, I did see the hit, and I'm like, I know contusion's usually just like a bruise, but I'm like, he went to the hospital for it, so obviously it's not just a bruise. And they're like, oh no, he's fine. I'm like, it's his throat. Is he okay? Like, actually,
I was so shocked that he came back into that game because like that happened, and then at the next drive he threw a 70-yard touchdown pass, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then they played into overtime, and he played all of it. I'm like, you are literally my future husband. Like, I swear to God. But then Saquon Barkley got hurt. Daniel Jones got hurt. Kenny Golladay got hurt. Who else? I'm literally like scrolling through the list because just so many freaking people. Taysom Hill got hurt, which is so sad because I kind of love him. Juju Smith had fucking surgery today. Laramie Tunsil got hurt. Curtis Samuel, doesn't really matter. Blah, 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 blah. Miles Jack, already said that. Brandon Linder got hurt. Damian Harris like has like a rib injury or something, which is concerning because their running game's already depleted, and he's on my fantasy team. But yeah, just like injuries all over the place this week. Gronk's like not even playing this week for sure. And then like I think the biggest storyline to come out of this week was like the kicker situation. Have you heard anything about this?
I would say, I know I've seen so many clips now on Twitter and also just like in the games I watched with the Patriots. What is going on with the NFL kickers? Like, I feel like no one.
Yo, I don't know.
Is making any of them.
Crazy. Like all season long, this has been the worst like production I've seen from NFL kickers in my entire life. But in the Bengals and Packers game alone, they had 5 missed field goals for a game winner in under 8 minutes. And like, I'm just like, our kicker's dead. Like, I don't know how to feel. Like, and okay, honestly too, like most rosters only carry one kicker, and probably all rosters, I would assume. So it's like there's got to be like a plethora of kicking talent. Why are more teams not working out more kickers? Like, I'm so confused by that.
Even just for like one game, just like rotate people out. Like, if someone's not working, like, it's not like they're in there for a majority of the game. They're literally just fucking kicking.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that they're gonna have to move like the extra point back. But I saw that the Lions lost like a heartbreaker to the Vikings from a kick that was like made though. And I saw that Dan Campbell, which is their head coach, they're the only other team that's 0-5, was literally crying in their press conference because he was so upset about like such a heartbreaking loss. And I'm just like, Urban Meyer could never. Like he would never. He doesn't care.
I would say I actually did see that clip on Twitter because I follow some Lions fans and they were like, this team's not like they suck, but I would follow this man into war. Like he cares so much about the team. So I'm like you said, like, yeah, Urban Meyer would never. Like this guy at least has his locker room. Like he cares. Like he cares and you know it.
Yeah, I respect the shit out of him. My only other comment from last week is like the Chiefs are now 2-3 with one of the most impressive rosters, if not actually, honestly, like the most impressive roster in football. And now they have Josh Gordon coming back, which like obviously is a question mark, like we've said in prior shows. But it's like you potentially just got that much better, and you're sitting at 2-3. And it's like I know you don't win your season in the month of October, but like, what the fuck is going on? Like they have lost some ugly games.
No, I honestly was going to ask you that because I do like still kind of pay attention just to what the Chiefs like because I feel like we always end up seeing them at some point. Like I'm very confused because like you said, like even I know they have one of the most impressive rosters, if not the best roster in the NFL. So like,
yeah.
And also I do see everything that his fiance, Patrick Mahomes' fiance, puts out. God. I know she's very upset with how this season is going. She's made that very clear. And I'm all for girls supporting girls. But I'm like, oh my God, you are the most annoying human being. And I'm like, on one hand, I'm always like, good for you. Like, you're going at it for your man, like, defend him till the end. But I'm like, has he ever just told you, like, hey, shh, you're making shit worse for me? Between her and his brother, I saw a tweet that was like, Patrick Mahomes must, like, get into the locker room and just see the dumb shit. Because they're always getting into shit on social media that they get into. And just, oh my God, I would be like, please just shut up. Yeah, especially in a losing season so far.
I'd threaten to cut her phone bill off. Like I'm not kidding. I'd be like, babe, I'm not paying your phone bill this month. I'm gonna need you to pipe the fuck down.
I would say delete social media if you want to keep stay on my phone bill. Yeah. Like shut the fuck up.
Oh God. Yeah, that was like my only other comment from last week. The games that I'm going to watch this weekend, I don't think I'm going to go out on Saturday night so I can be up for the Jags game in London. The only other two games, like I am going to watch every single game on Red Zone because that's just what I do on Sundays. It's like my ritual and it's my favorite thing in the whole world. But the only games I'm really like stacked for this week are Cardinals play the Browns and the Cowboys play the Patriots. I think the Cowboys and the Patriots are pretty evenly matched and it's kind of just like a what are you made of game because like I feel like the Cowboys have really proved themselves well enough this season to be taken seriously, and especially in that division, it's a division that they could probably easily win. But also, like the Patriots, like people never count them out because of who they are and who their coach is and like those sorts of things. But they're battling a lot of injury, they're battling a lot of problems. They have a rookie quarterback, so it's like I think that this is going to be like potentially a very evenly matched game. But I'm not ready to see that I think the Cowboys will win, but I think that the Cowboys will win. But like I said, I am going to be watching all of the games like I always do. Sarah, I have like a couple comments on college football. Do you have any comments on college football?
College football, I have zero. So go for it.
Fantastic. As always, the quickest college football recap. Alabama fell to Texas A&M this weekend. I was at the bar screaming and people were staring at me like I was a crazy person because I was in an Auburn jersey, and people up here just like don't get college football. It's not something that they're into. So they probably saw me in an Auburn jersey like cheering for Texas A&M because like I don't think people up here understand like the SEC and like their like how it feels to like be in the same division as Alabama. Oh, guess who is here? It is Mildred
Jackson or Millie.
Millie.
Miss Girl.
Miss Girl. She was famous last week. But this was the first time that Nick Saban was projected to win by double digits and did not. And it's the first time he's fallen to a former employee of his. And Jimbo Fisher, who's the head coach of Texas A&M, said that this is the year he would beat Saban preseason, and that came to fruition, which was kind of cool. UGA beat Auburn's ass at home. I was watching with a Georgia fan, and welcome back to me screaming. Iowa beat Penn State, so I've talked a lot of shit about Iowa. I'm not going to lie about it, and I'm always willing to admit when I am wrong, and I might be wrong about them. I might be. The Red River rivalry was kind of a crazy game. Texas got up early, and OU pulled it out. BYU falls, not surprised there, and Ole Miss beat Arkansas. Also, not surprised there. I've been saying that I think Arkansas is overranked, even though they got beat by a team that was like 4 places lower than them. That's just how I felt. The games I will be watching this week are Oklahoma State at Texas, Kentucky at Georgia, because Kentucky beat Florida. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Like, are they like decent? They're ranked now. I'm just kind of like a what are you made of Kentucky game sort of thing. And that's all I'm really excited about. And I am going to look at the AP poll, Rick, really quick and see if I have any comments off of it. If I can, JK. I just deleted the link, I think. So maybe I am not doing that. I feel like a lot of people have been moving around in the AP poll recently, and it's been like kind of a crazy season. Yeah, I accidentally deleted the link, so I'm not making any AP poll comments. Sorry, people, not that you want to listen to me anyway. Yeah, so I guess we can move into the NHL. First week of real games. You have a lot of notes here, so I guess we can start with the Kraken game. They played their first game against the Knights ever as a franchise, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I watched the first half of the game just because I was very interested in seeing. I was like, I feel like it's going to be cool to see, it's a brand new team. I'm sure they'll do something cool. And I don't know if you saw on Twitter, they had, since they were playing in Vegas, they did like the whole like ice capades thing on the ice. It looked sick with like the squid or octopus, whatever the fuck it is. It looked so cool. But yeah, no, I thought it was a pretty fitting way for the Kraken to be into the NHL, considering they lost 4-3 on a goal by the Knights that probably should not have been a goal. Should have been taken back. And I was like, okay, yep, that's welcome to the NHL. That's how the reffing usually is. And it was very nice to see people on Twitter because I follow a lot of people from the Seattle area that are like,
me too.
I know nothing about hockey, and I'm just going to try it. Like, why not? And they're like, how the fuck was that a goal? I was like, welcome to hockey.
That hockey sucks. I was gonna say
you're gonna be miserable.
Yeah, welcome to doing that sports. I think that this is a really cool, like, I don't know if this has been, I mean, I'm sure it's been talked about, but like we haven't talked about it. But it's like, I think it's really cool that the Kraken opened their season against like also a relative, like the newest team in the NHL. So I think it's cool that like the old newest team is playing the newest team. And I think that that's really cool. Like that they did that was like kind of sweet. And plus Vegas has like an insane like culture in their like watching Vegas games is like, I feel like people are on like acid constantly.
Oh my God. I want to go to Vegas just to go to a game there because it seems so fucking cool. And I don't know, do you follow Marissa and Jemmy on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So obviously she works for Seattle Times now, and she had like the best lead to story ever. I can't remember like word for word, but she was like, oh, they're like, the Kraken was coming out to the ice, you're going through the hallways and there's mirrors everywhere, and they can see like the reflection of the Golden Knights, like something that they're like what they could be. I was like, that is such a good fucking lead. Because I'm like, they are like you said, like 2 new teams, like, and look how successful the Golden Knights have already been. I'm like that, like, yeah, the Seattle Kraken roster maybe isn't amazing right now, but you don't know. Like, you don't know where you could be 5 years from now. And plus, Ryan Donato scored the first goal of Kraken history. I was like, hell yeah. Bruins legend, mask guy. Love that.
There you go. I do follow her, and I messaged her recently because I don't know if you followed her whole like moving fiasco.
Yes, I did.
I was like, did you ever get your fucking shit from that moving company? And she was like, it's supposed to be coming this week, but this was like 2 weeks ago. Did she ever get her shit?
I don't think so. I don't think I ever saw anything about it because I feel like she just keeps saying, she's like, yep, like movers, still nothing. And it's making me kind of nervous because like, if I ever have to move, like, I feel like I only know people that have had bad experiences with moving companies. I'm like, is there an easier way to do this? Because I don't think there is, but people seem to be missing their shit all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's terrifying. We need an update from her. One of us should ask.
Yeah.
I also am glad that you put the Harry Styles thing in our show notes because I freaked out about it, but forgot. I literally love the entire Hurricanes team except for Andrei Svechnikov. Like, I'm obsessed with their roster except for him because like he's kind of a dickbag. But like I like
him and Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah. Yep. I can't stand him. But like that was the cutest thing of all time. And their little golf outfits were so cute.
Oh my God, because did you read the article where the Hurricanes were like, yeah, like Harry's team reached out to the Hurricanes to put this whole thing together. And then I was like reading it, and like Martin and like Sebastian Aho were like, yeah, no, like he's just a normal guy and he's pretty good at golf. Like he actually knew a lot about hockey too. And I was like, as if I didn't already love Harry Styles so much. And like the Hurricanes social accounts just like completely fangirling. I was like, I would do that too. Like they made their names like the Harry Canes. Yeah. I was like, as you fucking should. Like that's so cute.
It's so cute. And Sebastian Aho is so cute.
I know. I was like, because I love him. I would love to have him on my team just because he's so adorable and like he's so good too. But I'm like, oh my God, as if I didn't love you already. And then you go and you're like, yeah, like he said, he was like, I want to go to the Harry Styles concert now. Cause I know like Martin was already going with his girlfriend, I think it was. He's like, no, now I'm interested. Like, I really want to go. Love that. This is such a wholesome little meeting.
Just like, I love how you also put Suck It, Austin Matthews and Justin Bieber because like true.
I fucking hate, I know this is an unpopular opinion. I don't like Justin Bieber. I've never liked Justin Bieber. I think he has a couple of good songs, but for the most part, he's never been someone I'm interested in. I hate Austin Matthews' guts. Obviously, I hate the Leafs, so that's kind of expected, but I just think Austin Matthews is the worst. But then the relationship between him and Bieber, I will say it's cool. It is pretty cool, and Bieber gives the NHL more of a platform than like anyone else ever would.
Mm-hmm. Except for Harry Styles.
So that is nice. Yes, but I was like, Harry Styles promoting the NHL is way better to me. That is so much better.
When are you seeing Harry? Because I know you're going.
October 25th.
My little sister is going to Harry Ween in New York City at the Garden.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. I like saw, it's John Mulaney's wife, like posted, she's like, what do I wear to Harry Ween? I was like, oh my God. Sorry, John Mulaney's ex-wife. That was, yeah. I know. I was like, oops. But no, I'm like, I'm already stressed about what I'm going to wear. I'm not going to Harry Ween. So good luck to you.
They're all having custom Halloween suits made for Harry Ween.
I don't even blame them. No. I would too. Like, people are dressing up like the fucking Met.
I know. I'm so excited. Like, I feel like that is going to be an electric day on the gram. Do you know who I have next in our notes? Do you know who J.R. Smith is?
Yes, I know who J.R.
Basketball
Smith
player.
is.
Okay, yeah. So he used to be a basketball player. He played with like LeBron and Cleveland and stuff like that. He was like the guy who always went viral for never having a shirt on. But he decided to go back to college and is attending a Black university, which is fucking awesome. Good for him for getting his education. Good. Like I fucking love J.R. Smith. I didn't love him when he was in Cleveland, but I love him now. And he's decided to join their golf team because he was like always golfing. Like there's always these funny stories about people going golfing with him.
I did see that.
Yeah, so he had, and I've been like watching him get so frustrated with like homework and normal people stuff has been like kind of comical, but like
that's the only reason I followed him on Twitter.
Yep. So he had his like first like collegiate golf outing this week and got like attacked by a wasp nest. Like straight up attacked.
Aw, I feel bad.
I do too. I'm like, that is so fucking sad. I guess he got like kind of fucked up by these shits. Like, no joke. So,
because like I said, I followed him on Twitter just because of his college tweets. He's like, damn, school's hard. I was like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it fucking is. And so I've just been seeing all of them. I saw him say something about how he joined the golf team. I did not know he got stung by wasps.
I think it happened yesterday. Yeah, it like literally happened yesterday. It was like his first like tournament or whatever, and he got like fucked up by wasps. Like poor guy. Like
someone it was on lacrosse Twitter actually posted like a screenshot of his picture on the roster, then some like freshman like right above him or something, and they're like, this looks like a JUCO lacrosse like roster, like straight up, because you have like this kid that looks like 16, then J.R. Smith right below. Like, Pretty spot on, yeah.
So funny. I like love him. I'm so glad that he's doing this. I think he's like setting a great example for everyone. I also, speaking of like the basketball thing, I know you know who Kyrie is, and I am so confused about what's going on with him because like I guess he's like refusing to get the COVID vaccine, and he's like not coming back because like you're required in like New York or like whatever to be vaccinated to come back, and they told him he could come back once he gets his first shot. But he's like saying he's like giving a voice to the voiceless and stuff. But Steve Nash said today that they are moving forward without him and like they're sad to do it or whatever. But I'm like, honestly, if Kyrie can't work out in Brooklyn, like, can he really work out anywhere? Because like people are so over Kyrie's bullshit and he like has this like God complex.
I don't know how to feel as someone that does not follow basketball at all. You know, I feel like a lot of my opinion on Kyrie initially was just based off of Celtics fans' reaction, which I'm like, then I found out more about Kyrie. I'm like, oh, I feel like, yeah, his time didn't work out in Boston, but I'm like, he seems like he's a good guy. Like, he's done so much. Like, I see all the stuff that he's done. Like, I'm like, he seems like a good person. But then when it comes to this vaccine stuff, I'm like, again, it's your choice, whatever. But I'm like, if that's the one thing keeping you from like playing to the point that like you're not going to be with this team, I'm like, where are you going to work out then? Like, where would you be successful?
Yeah.
Because he's so talented. Even I know that he's such a talented player. So I'm like,
yeah.
If I was a basketball fan, I'd want to see him playing. And I'm like, I don't know if he's just being stubborn, like trying to prove a point. Like, it is your choice, but if it comes down to that, I just feel like, fuck it.
Yeah, like
you
your
can
employer
still say whatever you want.
Yeah, your employer is requiring you to do something, but it's also like if you're not working out on a team that was like hand picked, put together, like where are you? Like who is if you're this difficult to work with, you're not a good teammate, you're a me type of player. Like if you can't work out on a team that was like built like this, where the fuck are you going to work out? Like is your like your career might be over, and maybe that's what you want. You want to go out with a bang, you want to go out with some drama because you are dramatic. Like people are like, he doesn't think that he's problematic, but you are the most problematic, sir. So it's like, where are you? Like, what is your plan?
Because I feel like, I don't know. I saw a tweet, I think it was over the summer. It was like, Kyrie really does treat the NBA like it's just like this 9-to-5 job, and I'll like call out every once in a while. I'm like, I'm not coming to work today, which to a point I respect. So I was like, it is your job. Like, you're right. Like, mental health first. Do what you do. Like, yeah, it's a team sport, but if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But when it comes to like, it's gotten to this point where now like you're making the organization look silly, like you're making your teammates, like you're letting them down. Like, it's just like, do you even want to do this?
How dare you do this to Steve Nash? He is a godsend. Thank you. Couple other things, getting into our pop culture shit of the week. MGK and Megan Fox's tweets. I saw you retweeting this today, and I am just so confused. I guess she was like, you smell like weed, and he was like, I am weed, in like some interview when they first met.
Yes, that was their initial meeting. She went up to him, was like, you smell like weed, and he was just like, I am weed. She's like, from then on, it was an instant connection. She's like, we didn't even kiss. We both just like, they breathed in each other's face. I don't fucking know. It was the weirdest shit I've ever read. I'm like, I know celebrities are out of touch, but Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like, I love Megan Fox. Who doesn't love Megan Fox? Like,
yeah.
You're making me dislike you because you're dating this fucking, like, I'm not a big MGK fan. I know a lot of people are.
I love them. And I'm still just couple. Like, yeah. I love them as together.
A couple, but I'm like, you guys are fucking weird, and you're making me like Megan Fox less, which I never thought was possible because I fucking love her.
It's just so cringy. Like, that whole interview was just really weird to me. Like, I get that they're like very open about their relationship and stuff, but like that was just, I don't know, Chief. I don't know. Little sus to me. It was like, but all the memes that have come out of it, I saw one today that was like the Notebook thing where it's like, if you're a bird, I'm a bird, and it was like, if you're weed, I'm weed.
I was like, so funny. You follow Kaylee Allard. She posted a screenshot of like Brad Marchand going licking the guy's face, and it was like, I am weed.
Yes.
I was like, that is a perfect execution of it.
I am absolutely obsessed with her. Like, I had some Twitter beef today, and she like kind of like liked my tweets low key, and I kind of like, I fucking love Kaylee.
I'm obsessed with her too. We should have her on one time.
Oh my God. Yeah. We should reach out to her. For sure. Cause she's half Boston, half New York. She has like some explanation on her Twitter page as to what it is. So we should have her on like right before the Bruins season gets crazy and chat with her a bit. We do have a tea party segment this week. It is a good tea party segment this week. Oh, my thing just Kennedy Stidham.
I didn't even see that you added this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited about this. I'm obsessed with her. I'm obsessed with them as a couple. And I almost I thought about it too. It's like, oh my God, we have to talk about this week. And I never added it. And so I'm so glad you did because I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I have some ththings to say about this. First of all, I am so excited to have a little mini Auburn Tiger welcome to the family. Although I will say I think that I prematurely judged their relationship when they were at Auburn because I had heard some not so great things about like her being rude to people coming up and asking for pictures with Jarrett and things like that. I've only ever encountered Jarrett in press, obviously, when I was covering football at ESPN for Auburn. So I don't really know anything about him, but like I've heard some nasty things about her. And I think that I prematurely judged her, which I'm sorry for, even if they're true. Like I feel like you should never prematurely judge girls. It was probably just immature of me. But I feel like a lot of people just were very jealous of her at Auburn. I don't know, like I'd heard some like not so great things about her, but now that I follow her and all of those sorts of things, I have in the last 2 years have fallen in love with her. Like, I think that she is just
my God.
Yeah, like she's bougie and all of those sorts of things, but there's nothing wrong with being bougie. It's just not my speed. But I am very, very excited for them to be parents because if anybody's going to be a parent and anybody's able to raise a child, like especially right now, it's like they have money forever to like give this kid the best life possible because her dad used to be the CFO of like the Houston Rockets.
Yes.
So it's like they can care for a child and this baby is going to be so pretty. It's disgusting.
Oh my God, it's going to be the most attractive child. But my thing with her is I know a lot of people are like, oh, like, she's so whatever, like, on Instagram, YouTube. I'm like, that is her, though. Like, that's her. I'm like, I think that's cool. Like, she gives you complete, like, insight to her life. Like, just today, I don't know if you saw, she was doing, like, a pregnancy, like, Q&A. I'm like you said, like, yeah, she definitely is a bougie person, which I feel like neither of us are. But I'm like, it's cool to see, like, she gives you, like, these are my thoughts. Like, this is what I do. I'm like a complete open book. And I think she does such a good job because I'm not a huge like YouTube follower, but I do watch a lot of her stuff because I'm like, it's interesting. Like, she makes it interesting. She knows what she's doing. And I feel like a lot of like NFL wives and girlfriends, like, you don't hear much from them. Like, you'll see them on Instagram or whatever. Like, they're not open like that. So it's just like cool to see.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited because like you said, like, she's kind of built her own brand for herself. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I was just going to say, she has her own shit popping. Like, she does her own stuff. She stays busy. Like, she's not just a wag. Like, she has her own thing going. And, like, she played soccer at Baylor and stuff, too. So it's like, this kid's just going to be freaking perfect. Like, it's going to be well-dressed, hot, athletic, have money. Like, watch out future generations for the Stidham child.
I'm so excited. I think she said they're having the gender reveal Saturday. I'm like, I will absolutely be tuning into that.
I kind of hope that it's a girl.
She posted a poll. She's like, do you think it's going to be a girl or a boy? I voted girl just because I want it to be a girl so bad, just for the outfits. Like, that alone.
I love when pro athletes are like #girl dad. And I think Jarrett would take on that role just so well. And I think that like, that's something that, you know, I don't want to make any assumptions and I'm not going to. It's just that like, I think that when you come from like a Southern family or Southern schools and you can really embrace that role of being a girl dad, like you set a good example for future girl dads, people who are like fans of you on how to be a girl dad, whether like you have those like premature thoughts about these types of things or not. I just think that the more girl dads that are actively involved in male things, the better.
I agree. And obviously, I don't know Jared personally, like you said, like, I don't really know much about him as a person, but based off of like her YouTube and Instagram, what I've seen, I feel like he would 1,000% embrace that role as a girl dad. And like you said, be a good role model for like, you don't see that much coming from that background.
He's just such a sweet guy, like so sweet. And I'm pretty sure, like, from what I know, like Kennedy's parents are awesome. Like, I think that she has a sister and like her parents are great, like total kick-ass girl parents and stuff like that. It's just like when you have a girl, it's like I think there's a special type to raise a girl, and I wholeheartedly believe in those two to do it and to set a good example for like future generations of like human beings.
Yes, I agree. Congrats to them. I'm excited for them.
Yeah, congrats. Like that's so exciting, especially to have like a little Auburn baby up here in New England. Like that's dope. We are going to, last but not least, move into our tweets of the week. Sarah, do you have, I feel like this week, honestly, like flew by. Like I was like, I texted you today and I was like, I like don't, like, where did this week go? It feels like we just recorded. Like, what do we even have to talk about?
No, I was thinking that too. I don't know if it's because like it was a long weekend or whatnot, but I'm like, I feel like we just recorded. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a pretty quiet week, I feel like, on that front, at least for me. It was pretty quiet. The only tweet that comes to my mind for tweets of the week is, I think you saw, someone made a burner account like this month and put their name as Chris Bryant, which I was like, I don't think Chris Bryant is sending me hate. I hope he's not sending me hate.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, this is kind of weird, but like responded, like he had like 4 tweets and like 3 of them were at me. I was like, this is literally a burner account just at me. Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. Like, I promise you I'm not worth it. But I like posted that picture at Fenway before, just like posing. I had a little black jersey on, which that was another one of my tweets of the week, which I'll get into. And this fucking account was like, hee, I'm Sarah. Like, I'm an anorexic looking bitch. I was like, you made a burner account just to make this tweet? I was like, first of all, okay. Like, sorry, this is just the way I look. Like, I don't want to tell you, I'm like, why are you pretending to be Chris Bryant? What does he have to do with this? Don't drag him into it. But that was the other. Well, do you have other tweets of the week? I'll let you go because I only have one other.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, we can go back and forth because I only have 2. I was gonna say, like, that's just like, you are so healthy, like, it's like about your like mental and your body and stuff like that. I feel like is especially like that's just a stupid tweet. You look healthy, so fuck off. Also, like, why Chris Bryant?
Yeah, I'm like, don't do that to him. Don't put his name through the mud, please. Like, if you're gonna say dumb shit, at least do it like a shitty player or like shitty person. Like, leave him out of this.
Yeah. My first tweet of the week, I tweeted last week, and because I have been fighting with Easy Pass forever. Like, fuck Easy Pass. Like, literally one of their employees screamed at me and hung up because I asked for her name because I didn't understand what she was saying to me, and she said she refused to explain it to me. So she literally screamed at me and hung up. So I tweeted, I was like, I hate when you're on hold and the voice message just keeps repeating, your call is important to us. Like, clearly not, or I wouldn't be on hold for an hour. And some guy named Mike responded, and he goes, I actually dated the woman who recorded this, and making love to her, I asked if she enjoyed it. She would always reply with the time and temperature. Like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
Like, hello?
I mean, like, that is kind of a flex to be like, you know who I have slept with.
It's like saying you fucked like the voice of Alexa.
It's like, also, if I was her, I'd be like, don't go around saying that every time. Because I'm like, I'm sure you're not the only person who's like tweeting stuff like that. Is he just like name search like this? Like, oh, you know that operator voice? Like,
yeah, crazy.
What the fuck? Like, it's kind of flex, but what?
Yeah, like sick flex. Anyways, what's your other tweet?
Well, my other tweet was, so I was wearing that black Red Sox jersey. It was their player weekend jersey from 2019, and it's my Evaldi one, and it has his nickname on the back, whatever. And some kid responded, he goes, which, mind you, this is a person that's followed me for a while, and I've never had an issue with, which is why I think I was more offended. He responded, he goes, that's the ugliest jersey I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's a cute jersey.
I tweeted and said, it's fucking, I'm like, it's a black jersey. Like, what do you dislike about that? I'm like, what is there to hate? Like, if anything, yeah, it's just pretty basic. Like, it was kind of boring, but it's like nice looking. It's clean looking. I was like, no one fucking asked, unfortunately. And he goes, the only thing worse than that is those piss yellow Red Sox jerseys. And I was like, shut the fuck up, because no one cares about your opinion. And he goes, yeah, that is pretty unfortunate that no one cares about my opinion. Whole time, this motherfucker's wearing a black softball jersey in his profile picture. I'm like,
people on the internet are so stupid.
Like, what? I was like, this is a nice jersey, number one.
You called yourself ugly. Joke's on you.
I like look at you in your like fucking like beer league softball jersey, okay?
Yeah.
I want to hear it from you, Uncle Bubba.
How can you hate from outside the club when you can't even get in?
A fucking man. I was like, you wish you looked that good in this jersey, okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yep.
look better in it than you do.
All facts, no printer. My other tweet of the week is I woke up. So last night I had a fucking like serious allergic reaction at this concert I went to. I don't know if someone had like colored cologne near me. So I Benadrylled myself to sleep last night because I was covered in hives. And I woke up this morning to two girls beefing with me on Twitter. And it was a tweet from like 3 days ago. And I was like, I said, Calais Campbell, or like the Jaguars didn't deserve Calais Campbell, which is true. We didn't. Like, he is fucking godsend.
Yeah.
Like, and it got like 500 likes, like 50 retweets, and then like 30, 40 comments or something like that. And then these two girls decided to hop on it today. And one of them is our fucking linebacker coach's wife who decided to come for me. It's like, first of all, like, you're a coach's wife. Why are you beefing with Jags Twitter? Second of all, it's like the linebackers aren't even playing good at all right now. So like, and she says to me, she goes, with all 100 of her followers, she goes, some people should just sit there and look pretty. Shit emoji. Take on one of our most loved and respected players. And then she posted the rock gif and says, know your role and shut your mouth, which is a tweet she later deleted. Because I was like, I went for her. I was like, holy shit. She wound up deleting the tweet after her and this other girl who accused me of just becoming a Jaguars fan this year. Honey, I have been involved in this for fucking 25 years. And then they had a thread of like 60 tweets talking shit about me. Like talking about like how I have all of these simps and shit like that in Jacksonville. And like apparently people say things about me because I have simps or whatever. I'm sorry. I've heard enough bullshit from coaches' wives on Twitter this week. Shelly Meyer, you should probably not. And it's just like, that is like her whole like profile is like being a woman, this about a girl. And I literally tweeted her back and I was like, this is not very girl supporting girls of you. Like, why are you, first of all, trying to gatekeep the Jags franchise as if, first of all, like, if I was a new fan, we have no room to be gatekeeping shit. Second of all, if I was a new fan, I would have picked a better franchise. Like, honestly, Patriots fans and Buck fans and maybe Chiefs fans are the only people who can gatekeep shit. And even then, why do you care? It's just like, I'm just like, why do you care so much? Like, and they're like, it's a shit take. I'm like, and she's like, all of these people are tweeting you that it's a shit take. I'm like, say that to my 500 likes and 50 retweets. And she like commented on, she was like, see, someone saying eat shit and you're responding to my comment. I wonder why, LOL. And I'm like, honey, I literally retweeted that 2 days ago. Where have you been? And she didn't say shit to that. And they're like, well, you should respond to everyone else saying that your opinion sucks. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like the 15 people out of 50 comments on one tweet? I'm sorry, I have a fucking full-time job and I don't have time for this. Like you can fucking beef with whoever you want on Twitter while you sit there all day, because it sure as shit ain't gonna be me, honey.
Okay, but also her being like, oh, you're only responding to me out of all these people. Even if you were only responding to her, I'm like, yeah, no shit, you're a fucking coach's wife. You should not be going on there and be like, shut up, like, you stupid bitch, and like being so like, especially if she does put on this front, like, oh, support women, like, I'm all for girls, and then you're going around and just be like, shut up, like, you can't be a Jags fan, you're new to the fandom, like, you can't be a part of this, like, blah, 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 you don't know what you're talking about. Like, yeah, if you're saying that shit and you're a coach's wife, I'd also be like, hey, one, that's not true. Two, why are you saying this? Like, this is a bad look, not just for you, but like, you're not just speaking for you. That's the thing. Like, that reflects on other people.
Yep. And she wound up deleting the tweet, but it was like her and this other girl like commenting all this shit. And I'm just like, I don't care about you and your combined followers that are half as much as my own podcast. Like, what time are you paid to talk about sports on TV, honey? Let me know.
Yeah, no, I was actually going, because I did not see any of this until you like mentioned it to me. I was going through that thread. I'm like, off of this one tweet, which you weren't even like saying anything about the fans. Like, it's not like you were saying like, oh, because you are a fucking fan. Why would you be like, we don't deserve good players? Like, why would you fucking say that? Like you just misinterpreted the tweet. And I did see the girl was like, oh yeah, like I think I misread it. So why are you still going?
Yeah,
are
like
you just
why do you
mad
have
because you don't have Sims?
Yeah, like, is that what you're pressed about? And like the coach's wife was like, here's the attention you ordered. I'm like, honey, I get more attention in my fucking pinky toe. I promise you that. I don't need it. Like, Oh my God. So I was just like, I heart simps tweet. Like, get, like, what? Like, go clout chase somewhere else, you two. Like, I literally don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I hate that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, like you think that all these people are talking shit about me. It's like 13 comments out of 50 when everyone else is like, I agree. And you're going to tell me it's a shit take. Say that to my 500 likes, which is like more followers than you have by like 5 times. Like, get out of here.
I was like reading through them, and there was some guy who was like, listen, Jack's Twitter is already a negative ass place because we have a losing team. Like, is this really worth it?
Yeah.
Like, maybe we're all just mad. And I was like, I feel like, I don't know about the coach's wife, but that other girl, I'm like, is she just mad? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
no one's joining Jack's Twitter just because they're like, oh, I really want to be a part of this losing team. No offense.
No, it's true. And she was like, why is it that whenever 2 girls on Twitter beef, it's automatically jealousy? It's like, why do, it doesn't have to be. It's just like, why are you like calling people simps and shit? It's like, they're calling us like the Bold City, like simps and shit. Cause it's like, that's one of the accounts in Jacksonville and like the people who I interact with. And it's like, first of all, like a lot of girls just like don't talk about football. Like, yeah, sure, there's like reply guys and stuff. But if you don't want it to be jealousy every time, why does it have to like, why do you have to throw the S card around all the time?
No, and I'm like you said, like not a ton of girls are talking about football. So I'm like, okay, why is your first reaction to like, oh, attack this girl when you guys clearly have a common interest? Like you have a mutual interest in something. So why not be like, it's okay if you disagree on something. Like you and me, it's not like we have the same sports takes all the fucking time. That's our entire show is we don't root for the same teams pretty much.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's not like, oh, I automatically like hate you.
Yeah. I enjoy civil discourse, but it's like when you're going to quote me wrong and say that I'm new to a fan base, so I can't judge what happened before. First of all, that's wrong. And I said that to her and she goes, well, you tweeted that you wanted to be a part of the Jags. And I was like, no, I wanted to be a part of Jags Twitter. I've been a Jaguars fan since the day I was born. The Jaguars and I are the same age. I was born and raised in Jacksonville. Like, if you're going to misquote me, I'm going to tell you that you're going to misquote me and to at least get it right. And you had to turn it into all of this and simps and whatever. It's just like, sorry that I have friends. And it's like, she was like, I'm comfortable with my life, whatever. It's like, yeah, me too. That's why I don't give a fuck that you people are in my mentions. Like, get off of my shit. Like, do you have nothing better to do than run a 60 comment thread about like who I could be fucking and stuff? Like, get out of here.
Oh yeah, and on like with the Jags Twitter thing, like yeah, you did make that tweet because I remember seeing that tweet. Like I want to be part of Jags Twitter. I didn't join like Red Sox Twitter till 2017. It's not like I became a Red Sox fan in 2017. Like I don't know, some parts of Twitter like you just don't get that into. Like it has nothing to do with fucking fandom. Like that's so weird.
I didn't even use Twitter until May. Like I had it and I had 100 followers in May. I had 100, and it's like now bitches are press and want press. Like, please. Sarah, do you have any final comments?
I do. This is the Dilly shout out of the week because we are enemies now. It's Red Sox Astros. I'm sorry, we're enemies. I still love you to death, but fuck the Astros, Red Sox in 7.
I'm so shocked that he is like that he still like supports them because he is just such an SJW. You know what I mean?
I would say he's the fucking best. It kills me that he's the Astros fan.
I love him. He's our king. My closing thought is thank you for coming to my coming out party. I'm not gonna like get emotional again, but thank you for everyone who is listening to this episode. We really appreciate you guys. I honestly have chills right now and feel such a weight lifted that I've kind of publicly said this and I no longer have to like worry or anything like that. So thank you for listening to Saturdays and Seltzers. We love you guys. Keep on sipping, y'all, and we'll see you next week.